Hello, my name is Christopher Ramos, and if you're watching this, then you have already seen my final for MUS 145B, where I took clips from Man with a Movie Camera and changed it into my own piece called Possessed by Passion. Possessed by Passion was really, I storyboarded it in a 3-act structure. And from the get-go, I wanted a tragedy. I wanted sadness. I really wanted to, I really wanted to, focus on, the tragedy that ending a relationship because of your own faults, how that is. And kind of the delusion that we give ourselves, because of it. So I wanted to make sure that the songs were really heavily pushing the narrative. Aside from the pictures, aside from the clips, of course, but the songs were kind of what was carrying the story, because I didn't want just blocks of text all the time. And so the first song is called "The Modern Man's Hustle" by Atmosphere, off their album, because they're a band. God Loves Ugly. That song in particular is very it's supposed to show that this man loves to work and that working is his necessity, that he has to do his passion, and it sows seeds of unhappiness, because in the scene where the couple are getting married, they don't look that happy. They look pretty like this is another day in life for them. And I chose that scene specifically because it had questionable tones, and I really wanted to emphasize that. I really love that part. And then there are also scenes in the first act that play out in the third act, but we'll talk about that later. The second song I used in the second act was So Good by John Kaizen Neptune and Murillo, on their third track, Brass Breeze Side A. And this song is a 70s funk song. It's a Japanese soul funk rendition. If that doesn't scream cool, I don't know what does. Anyway, I really wanted that song because it was supposed to show the kind of stupidity, the ignorance that the 70s kind of was. That in the 70s, people were partying, not really caring, that it's a real crazy and tumultuous time, the 70s, crime rate was incredibly high. That aside, I really wanted to focus in my scenes that there are very few women in the second act, if any at all. I tried to limit as many females in the second act to show that this, the man with the camera was hustling so hard, was working so hard, was so focused on producing a movie that was revolutionary, that he avoids women. And although that might be good because he's in a relationship, he doesn't need to be out there with women all the time. Not every woman's a sexual conquest. You can have female friends that you can just co-workers. But this man chooses not to, and he chooses to focus on his work 100%. And I really want to show that that is a detriment. When people start cutting off their social webs, that's when tragedy starts happening, because then they get reliant on the one web that's holding them together. In this case, that's his wife. And in the black scene, in the cutout, between the second act and the third act, that's when their relationship falls apart, and that's when the man starts to finally feel grateful for what he had. And no song tells you to feel grateful for what you have other than J. Cole's Love Yours off 2014 Forest Hill Drive. This is the best album in my opinion. Anyway, I really wanted that song because it was, and I combined it with scenes of death and sadness to just emphasize that the man has lost something that was wholly and dear to him, and it was just painful for him. That's why the woman crying is kind of symbolizing the man is just destroyed on the inside. And coming back to what I said earlier in Act 1 about scenes being reused, so I specifically rearranged some scenes and put them back into Act 3 to kind of show that this man, like, has made his masterpiece. That his masterpiece was his entire life's work, and that he's editing it for us to see again. For us to see for the first time as the first time movie viewers, but not first time as viewers of my movie. And I really wanted to emphasize that he has succeeded so much. He's succeeded, and yet he's alone. And yet he's alone, you know, setting up the reel. He's alone cutting up the film. There's solitude in those scenes, and aside from the scenes that are being reused, it's a very solitary act. There are very few people in it aside from the funeral parade, but that's kind of like different. And I really wanted to just kind of show that, like, yeah, your actions can have will always have consequences. That focusing on one thing means not focusing on another, and ignoring people's wishes and needs are pretty detrimental to a relationship. It's very, very toxic to just demand someone stay with you because you're already together and it's easier to stay together. It's a very toxic thing, and I really wanted to show that the man felt lost and that the woman is finally free. Even though we rarely see her after the first act, she is finally free, and free to pursue her own, dreams. And I really wanted to focus not really so much on the happiness of that, because I really wanted to focus on the tragedy that the man, when he realizes he's all alone, when he's just, when he's just walking alone with his camera through a crowded plaza, everyone's parting their way from him. They're kind of giving him like a radiation bubble. They don't want to be near him. And that's kind of what the pain I would really kind of emphasize: solitude while being surrounded. And I know that's an oxymoron, but it's what I'm trying to emphasize. It's feeling alone even though you have people around you. And I think that's a sad point to make, and I think it's a lesson people gotta learn, that like there's a lot of people hurting out there, especially men, because we are terrible at processing our emotions. And the whole reason I made the movie like this is because I was going through a pretty bad breakup, and this is kind of just my process way of healing, kind of just self-admission for a lot of failures, and just gotta pick yourself back up. And so, and to end on a happier note, I picked the song Time, Donut of the Heart, off Jay Dilla's Donuts, to kind of end in the credits a very happy way of just, motivating, just the upbeat way of just, there are better days. And although it may not happen now, it may not happen in immediate 20 minutes, 20 days, like, it'll happen. You just gotta keep your head up. You just gotta not give up, because giving up is not gonna happen if you give up, other than just you're gonna wallow in your own pit. And I really do feel like I feel pity for the man in the movie camera. I feel pity that he just wasted his life, and that's what I really tried to frame. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay 6 feet apart, wash your hands, and stay safe out there. All right, thank you.